League fan podcast. This is Chris. I'm joined by the usual horrible threesome of Joe, Luke, and Troy. Hello, boys. How are you three?
Hello.
Fantastic.
Yeah, one of you is. We're also joined by friend of the podcast and good friend of ours, Tom. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hello, Chris. Feeling on top of the world.
Good. Now, we'll give you a little bit of insight just so that you know who Tom is following and who he's going to be backing today. Tom, you're a Manchester United fan as well as Troy, aren't you? But a slightly nicer one, aren't you?
Some might say,
Yeah, so, you know, we'll wait and see. So I have a feeling this podcast is going to be very much me and Joe versus the other three.
How's it going to work if the one listener we've got is on the podcast as well?
I mean, this is a worry. I mean, you've got to commit to actually listening to it, Tom, as well. You can't just be on it because we rely on your listen.
I can't wait. Tomorrow morning, I'll go.
Yeah.
Straight away.
You have to still listen to it because we need these figures because you're our only listener. But we appreciate you being here. Last in the series of the Premier League fan podcast. Obviously, we are 24 hours removed from it all finishing up and it all finishing.
And what drama?
It was full of drama as we thought it was going to. We're going to go into it all. We're going to look back at some of the predictions we made earlier on in the series, and we're going to see if anything that we predicted back then we change anything. So we're going to crack straight on with relegation and the relegation battle because I just want to get it out of the way. It needs to be a plaster that is pulled. Off you go, Luke.
Cue the music.
No, you need to talk.
Cue the music.
We're not cueing the music yet. We're 2 minutes. We're 2.5 minutes in, Luke.
It's the opening. It's the opening.
Luke, no. Talk to me about Aston Villa.
I think I'd like to cue the music first.
No, we're not cueing the music. We don't do that usually.
Well, it's my show now. Villa have stayed up. I want to cue the music. Can we cue the music, please?
The Aston Villa fan podcast.
And as I say, everybody listening now, cue the music.
He's going to edit this now. It's going to be cherries or something.
I am not cueing the music, Luke. We need to carry on.
Gentlemen,
we record
I can't hear you from down there. I can't hear you from down there, Chris. Cue the music.
Obviously, while Luke composes himself and gets to grips with the fact that he's doing a podcast at the moment. So basically, when the final day came around, Bournemouth needed a win for them to win and for Villa and Watford to both lose. Villa just needed a draw and Watford needed to win and the rest to lose as well. Obviously, if you're all football fans, you're listening to this, you know what's happened. Watford carried on their poor run of form. We'll talk about Watford first while Luke composes himself. He's probably still drunk from last night. Joe, it was Arsenal Watford, and Watford just couldn't do it yesterday, could they?
No, it was a weird one because we just from the start, 3-0 like nothing had happened. It seemed so simple. And then Arsenal decided to be Arsenal. We let Danny Welbeck score against us, says it all really. Oh, and David Luiz, getting nowhere near the ball, going for a challenge. Nothing really new, but
a lot of VAR decisions. I think there was a penalty. The first penalty took quite a while. Mike Dean was the official. I know he got overturned. So yeah, it was a dramatic game which didn't go Watford's way. Tom, we'll come to you. Obviously, Nigel Pearson was sacked as Watford manager. shockingly, before the two final games were played, do you feel that it could have been a different story if they'd have kept Nigel Pearson, or do you think it was probably inevitable that they were going to lose those two final games?
I think it's probably inevitable. Watford have usually done all right against Arsenal, I think, in the past. They normally turn in a performance, although that says more about Arsenal than it does Watford, I think. But in all things being said, I think even with Nigel Pearson, I think they were on a downward trajectory as it was. So I don't think they would have stayed up.
Yeah. And obviously, we'll discuss. I mean, obviously, Watford didn't get the job done. They went down. Bournemouth did get the win that they needed. Needed a bit of luck from the London Stadium, and just didn't get it. It didn't work out. I know.
Played well that game.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'll say my little bit now. You know, at the minute, it's. I mean, I'm sure you've got a smirk on your face. League Fan Podcast. This is Chris. I'm joined by the usual horrible threesome of Joe, Luke, and Troy. Hello, boys. How are you three?
Hello.
Fantastic.
Yeah, one of you is. We're also joined by friend of the podcast and good friend of ours, Tom. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hello,